Welcome. In this video I'm taking a look at this Powstick 60 watt 12 amp 6 port USB charging station. So this was provided to me by the distributor, but they're not compensating me for this video and they're not reviewing it before I post it. If you find this video helpful, I'll put a link to this in the description, and if you use that link it helps me out a little bit and doesn't cost you anything extra. I'll also put a limited time promo code in the description too. So let's take a look at the box. It has a service email there. It says 1382 degrees F fire retardant exterior. So that's an interesting feature. So if one of your devices started on fire, this is less likely to become fuel for that fire. Anti-slip, overcurrent protection, overvoltage protection, and short circuit protection. So here we have features. It says neat and organizing charger, charge 6 devices simultaneously, 2.4 amp fast charging, auto detect smart IC, universal compatibility. Specifications: the model is YA60WS-6US. The material is fire resistant PC, so that'd be polycarbonate, 94V0. Charging port is 6 USB ports. Input is 100 to 240 volts AC, 50-60 Hz at 1.2 amps. Output is 5 volts DC. Each port max output is 5 volts at 2.4 amps. Total output power is 60 watts max 12 amps. So if you divide 12 by 6, that gives you 2 amps per port. So if you mix in slower and faster charging devices on this, the faster charging ones can draw up to 2.4 amps. But if you had 6 devices that are all fast charging, it would max out at 2 amps per port. But that is nice. Some of these won't even do that. Some will only do slow charging and then maybe fast charging on one port or something. So I like that capability. Power cord length is 5 foot, 1.5 meters. Product weight is 15.6 ounces or 442 grams. Then we have package weight and product size there. You can read those. It says hello here. So one cool thing about this is it comes with quite a few charging cords. Let's take a look at that. So this is the power cord for the device, and it looks like we have 6 cords here. We have 2 micro USB, 3 lightning ports, and 1 USB-C cord. Here's the charger. We have a warranty card and product instructions. Okay, so here's a side profile view. We have 6 USB-A ports, and it has these dividers here to divide up your tablets or phones or whatever you're charging. It's a power button here. So there's rubber on the 2 sides. So this is it's not a super smooth plastic. There's a little texture to it, but this is a plastic that has a little bit of smoothness to it, and then it has these rubber rails on the sides. It has 4 rubber feet on the bottom. So let's plug the power cable in. So I think it's on right now. Let's see. Yep. So it's kind of hard to see on camera, but this is glowing green. I'll start with the biggest items first. So this is an iPad Air 2, and it has this kind of thick foam case on it. So I see one problem with this specific case is that the charge port is on the opposite side of the USB port. So I don't know that this cable is going to reach. Actually, it looks like I can just fit it on there by bending this handle up. I'm guessing not too many people are using these really big foam cases, but it fits on this largest one. So this is pretty wide here, so you could put something pretty large in there like this. So I'll plug that in. The USB plugged in there, so that is charging. Next I have an iPad 3. So I'm guessing not too many people are still using these devices, and I have this huge cord here. So if I were using this regularly, I'd probably get a shorter cord, which I may actually do. We don't use this iPad a lot. My kid uses it for time lapses or stop motion. Okay, so that one is charging. Next I have my iPad Pro. This is the 1st gen model. So this is probably similar to what most people will be using this for. This is a Nexus 7 tablet. And then I have an iPhone 6. So I'm actually filming this video on my iPhone SE, and that could go right up here. But I wanted to demonstrate this with everything plugged in. So I have a GoPro here, and it has USB-C charging on it. So I can hook that in there. And that obviously isn't as stable as the others, but if you're not messing with it, that would work good. And of course you don't actually have to even put it on here. If you had something larger, you could set it here. Like if you had a USB chargeable speaker, like a Bluetooth speaker, you wouldn't have to put it on the dock. But that does actually fit there pretty decently. So I have a micro USB cable left over here. So I like that this comes with a number of cables, and you can see I just used quite a few of them here. If you're planning on using this regularly, it wouldn't be a bad idea to get short cables like this if you need more than what it came with. That way you don't have large cables hanging off like I have with this really old 30-pin connector. So this is currently on and charging. I'll press this button to turn it off, and you can see a lot of these lit up, and then I'll turn it back on. And you probably couldn't hear, but I think the phone buzzed. It's the only one with a buzzer in it. So I'll scoot back a little bit so we can get a wider view of this. Okay, so there's a wider view. So as you can see, it has a pretty compact design. The devices fit in here pretty good. This one's a little bit awkward here. You can see this kind of almost leans up against it, but needless to say, we already discussed that's due to this massive case on it. But the iPads themselves fit in there nicely. Okay, so I've hooked a power meter up to this. Now I've discharged, I think, most of these devices. So I think they are all charging right now, and we're drawing 50 watts. So not all of these are supporting fast charging, but you can see it's currently drawing 50 watts. So I'm going to turn it off with the button on it. Let's see what it drops to. Okay, so that dropped to 0. So the standby power usage of this when it's off is 0. That's pretty nice. Now I'll turn it back on, and I'm actually going to unplug everything from it. And I'll turn that back on. Okay, so it's currently on, but nothing is plugged into it, and it's still drawing 0. So it is obviously taking some energy because the green light is on the button, but it's very, very little. It's not even registering on this power meter. So if you had this on your desk plugged in, you really don't need to worry about unplugging it from the wall when you're not using it. It's not drawing significant power. So I do want to bring up one little issue I had when I was unplugging all these, is that it wasn't super easy to unplug these because I had to reach down under here to unplug them. But ideally, when you have this set up, you shouldn't have to plug and unplug these regularly. The idea here, when you have, say, this device plugged in, is that you would unplug this, take this with you, later you would come back and plug it back in. I don't think this is made to regularly plug and unplug these USB connectors down here. So once you have them plugged in, you can just leave them. So I think this is a pretty slick dock. I think this is really going to clean up my desk. I right now have all these piled up on my desk, and it's just a mess. Having them in this dock here, they'll be charging, they'll be ready to go, they will be uncluttered. You could even use some of these devices in the dock. Like if I had this iPad up here in front, like so, I could be viewing this at my desk while it's in the dock. And it actually looks like it'd be at a pretty decent viewing angle too. So that's the Powstick 60 watt 6-port USB charging station. That's all I'm going to cover in this video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you like this video, please click like. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd appreciate it if you could do that. And thanks for watching. Until next time, goodbye.